very nice day for Dolphins fans, the 1 p.m. edition. Jets, they wet the bed against the Colts. They're 3-8, and that's always a nice little cherry on top for a Dolphins victory. Dolphins go win 34-19. A very good day for the offense. Tua looked fantastic. He had to fumble, but other than that, fantastic. McDaniel mixed it up, hitting multiple levels, continuing to run the football. Not all perfect. I'll get into the, context and maybe not so hot things after I get into the good stuff. But the Dolphins right now are 4-6. They're vying for the Colts, who, and it sucks that they won sort of because they got the tiebreaker on us. I don't know how that's going to play out. They might nosedive. So we got to battle with them. Broncos are 5-5. They play later. Chargers and Bengals are another team, but they play each other in the 4 o'clock. So it's a long shot for the Dolphins to get in, but it's not as long after today, considering what we saw. Long way from here to there, but we've taken 2 steps forward. Let's see how it plays out. I mean, I'm not going to tell you we're getting there, but today we took care of business. Raiders were a kind of a tough team, and it was imperative that in my eval that this offense, which we spent all this money on, drives us to the win, and we got over 30. We got 34 points, and it was big plays, clutch moments that we came through. And so we should be very, very, very happy. We got to beat the Patriots. I don't think they're a snooze fest that, maybe you thought, or even I thought. They challenged the Rams a little bit. They lost in their house, so they're not on our level. But we take care of them. It's 3 wins, 5-6. Then we start the real eval. But this is nice. This is very, very nice position. So I'm going to get into the good stuff, and then I'm going to get into the context and things I didn't like, because I just want to stay happy. My kids don't watch Dolphin games this year. They started to, and we got blown out, and we looked ugly, and they love to do the waddle dance when he scores, and he hasn't been scoring, so they kind of lost interest. But my little guy, he's 8. He loves football. He's scouring. I think he's going to want to play and stuff. And so he came in, he was watching the Dolphins play, and it was like kind of a low-scoring game. I guess want to play video games. He came back, and he looked, and he goes, 31, Dad. What do you say? Dolphins are brutal. And I was laughing. It made me feel good. It made me feel good that they're good enough that my kids are getting excited. That makes me feel excited. And really, that's what this game's about. We don't know what the long-term thing's going to be, guys, but let's just enjoy this moment. And it's a good moment. So on offense, Tua, he showed his move skills. And no, he's not Lamar or Allen or Mahomes. But there was about 4 big plays that he got on the move. One of them, Teron tackled the guy, and that wasn't called, which was good. But he showed throughout the day an ability to make something happen. It was a fumble. Okay, I didn't like that, but it happens. And Allen fumbles a ton. Obviously, he's better on the move skills, but this is a big piece of the puzzle. The offensive line didn't have a good day, but he uplifted it with his move skills and using the skills to get things, big plays to happen. So he was 81% clean time to throw, 1.85 seconds. That's mind-blowing. And that says a lot about our skill talent, says a lot about McDaniel calling his stuff up and creating it, and them playing high to give us the underneath and us taking it, but then to his release and his accuracy. Only 19% pressure, and that's 5% less than the blitz rate. Again, I've talked about that. The blitz rate, you want that blitz rate to be higher than the pressure. I mean, if you're a defense, you want the other way. So this was a good day for a lot of things, but it was not the O-line so much. It was the mitigation of our skills doing what it's supposed to do, create leverage. We only used 21% pass rush mitigation. If you don't know what that is, I got to check the extra blockers, but we didn't call a lot of screens. We didn't call a lot of play actions. That put more guys in routes, and that's how we were able to get this stuff done. So the big drive, that was really what I wanted to know. And this is 2 weeks in a row he's had the big drive come through. And it was 7 minutes or 5 minutes left or something like that. And he had the touchdown to Jonnu. They called 0. broken coverage, but he had a guy in his face. He got up there and he heaved it and he put it into Jonnu's hands for the touchdown. Tua is showing that he is a guy. He took a couple hits last week. He survived it. He came through in the clutch in the fourth quarter last week. He came through in the clutch this week. Didn't really take too many hits. This is what you want. And yes, he has some injury thing. No, he doesn't have a cannon Superman arm. But this is a guy that you build around right. If he stays healthy, he can uplift the team. Raiders are the Raiders, yes. But the Ravens lost to the Raiders. So let's enjoy what Tua did and what this team did. Now, Achane, this guy's really good. He didn't have the greatest day running the football. He had that nice break. It was 17 for 73 for 4.3 yards, 1 touchdown. Great in the pass game, but it's not his fault. The offensive line struggled in a lot of ways. They had some good moments, but overall there were some struggles, and that's kind of something I talked about. But they did enough stuff, and he had that big pop run. He ran hard, and we kept running the football. And that's a key to keeping this thing balanced. And Achane is a guy. You got Tua, you got Achane, you got Waddle, you got Hill, you got Jonnu for maybe another 2 years. These are key skill talents. And I don't think you can deny that. And I think it's not fair to not evaluate it correctly. That's why I say it's not fair to evaluate the O-line incorrectly, but whatever. Wright, he only had 5 carries for 4 yards, but I talked about that. He's doesn't have the lateral speed, shiftiness that like Achane and Mostert has. He's more of a one-cut guy. And if you're not getting him yards before contact, he struggles. I still think he was good. He had like 3.8 yards after contact. So now imagine if you get this guy the ball and his first contact's 2 or 3 yards down the line on the other side of the line of scrimmage. He's fine. He's doing really good. Jonnu, guys talked about, I've been talking about tight ends for years, and you can see the dividends. I mean, you see Bowers for Minshew, and you see Jonnu for us. He is going to increase in his capacity to uplift this and to help Tua out and to take pressure off other areas. Doesn't mean we're going to Super Bowl with them. I'm not going to say we're not. I don't know. But I know this guy's a big piece. It should have been added earlier. Glad it's been added now. Hill found some life. He had a couple of nice throws that he caught. His wrist is not looking good. It looked like he took a ding on one of the hits. At the end of the second half, they were doing a weird, I don't know what you call a timeout with 5 seconds left, and then you throw the Jonnu over the middle. I don't know, whatever. But he was on the sidelines. I think he's really hurt. I think also they might be bumping it up by saying, well, we want him to get surgery, but he's not going to. I mean, that's what they do. But I'm sure it's not something to play around with. So he found his way, but we got to worry a little bit about his health. It's going to get harder and harder as it gets colder and the hits get harder. Is he going to be there to help us in this end? Now, OBJ came up nice on some small things, and if it tracks like OBJ with Jonnu, then maybe we'll see him enhance, and Hill won't be needed as much. We'll see on that. Now, O-line blocking, not so good. And obviously, you're dealing with a decent defensive front by the Raiders, but not a great one. I mean, one great talent, and then okay linebackers and no secondary. Really beat up secondary. Brewer struggled a ton, and I thought he would because he struggles versus power. And they had a roll help to the right. And Lamb needed a little bit extra help from Eichenberg, and that put Brewer a little bit on his own. The run blocking was hit or miss sometimes when it was gap and it was high leverage, but it was just straight up blocking. They kind of struggled a little bit more. The O-line, Tehran looks a little dinged up. He struggled in the run game. I don't know what his health is going to be. He missed this whole week, and it might have just been his short week, and they didn't want to exasperate it. But they did just enough. But against the better units, we won't see them probably for another 2 weeks. I don't know how they're going to handle. This was an up and down thing. Eichenberg was poor. He was on the ground a lot. He didn't draw any penalties, or did he? I can't remember. Maybe he drew a penalty today. He'd be making a jerk. Yeah, I think he did, actually. So he's finding his way here. Julian Hill, okay in pass blocking. I thought he was pretty good. His run blocking is still an issue. Had some nice catches. So you could see that this unit definitely was driven by the skills and Tua. That's not sustainable in on the road against better teams and bad environments. So we'll see. Wynn could be coming back soon. Maybe Teron gets a little bit healthier. We'll see. Maybe Paul comes in for Lamb at a certain point. He plays well. I don't know. Overall, that's the good and the bad. Now, on defense, Chop getting better and better. He's not perfect, but neither was Phillips. And Phillips had an unbelievable year 2 and was doing great in year 3. And Chop, I think, is following that. He had 5 pressures, 5 hurries, and he had that big pressure on 3rd and 3 where he shot and split and sucked the guys up and made Minshew bail out. And that was critical. So he's a good pick. Is it the right pick? Is it the best pick? I don't know. But he's a good pick and he's a good player and he's getting better. Ciela, typical self, awesome. 1 sack, 3 stops, 3 pressures. Walker replacing for Long. This is the deal. 5 targets, 2 catches, 3 stops, way better than Long. This is some, I mean, he was injured, so maybe that played into it in preseason. He was finding his way. Clear upgrade. Brooks, hot and cold a little bit. He had 4 stops, 6 tackles, but his pass coverage was not good today, but you got to give him a little. He's been good for a while, and Brewer is just. I don't know how many were on Brewer. He was 8 targets, 7 receptions for 73 yards, but like 50 yards was rack. I still think he had a good day. It's just not. This guy is really good, and so we'll see how it plays out going forward. Benito, who I'm not big on, wasn't so hot in the run defense, but he had 3 pressures. So there was a lot of good. Campbell, he had, a couple of good plays, but he got dinged up, and I think it diminished him. He didn't look, after that punt penalty where he got hit in the head and fell down. I don't know. He looked a little dinged. We'll see how he plays. It was not one of his best games. Ramsey, he had 5 targets, 4 receptions, 34 yards. Not terrible. He seemed a little, not superstar status, but he had to pick at the end. So I give him, tilting up, but maybe a little bit middle ground. Kohu, bad. That 19, I forgot who he is, the swing pass, we just targeted inside instead of outside and put his head down. It was ugly. And I think he had another missed tackle too. So he had a very poor game today. Storm Duck. My friend PJ sent me a picture of him. I got to put him up over here. He had a very good day. Not really attacked so much, but he had a good day in coverage, and he's trending up. And I think he played more than Cam today, which is pretty funny. And then Poyer, bad day. Poyer is not a good signing. He missed I think it was to Bowers on the outside on the swing pass. He got a little, somebody was in his way and he had to bend around it a little bit, but still, he's not looking good. Had some catches on him, just not looking good. But overall, I thought Weaver did a very good job. I think the secondary, though, there is some issues. We kind of see it percolate here and there. Minshew is not a top talent. They got Meyer and Bowers, and then Mayer, the tight end, getting confused. They got the receiver from New England, and then they got Bowers, and then they got a tight end who's been out for personal reasons. They don't really have a lot of talent, but they were able to put some yards and points on us, more than I thought really they should have. Fuller wasn't in, but I think what you see, though, is that Ramsey and Fuller, when one of them's out, there's a diminishing. There's not really that rally talent. Let's hope that Duck actually improves a little bit. Big moments. The fumble could have been bad, but we overcame that. Put points on. Tua had his day. The Campbell thing, we had lots of penalties that kind of kept us in there. It was a little sloppy. And you can kind of get away with it with a poor team like this, but that's got to get pulled in. Raiders, they're not a top talent team. I thought the new OC they brought in, I thought he did a good job, a better job. There was some hiccups there as far as questionable decisions. I didn't like the blitz, the zero blitz. at the end on defense. But overall, I thought they were a pretty solid team, coached pretty well. They played very hard. They had the bye, so they're a little bit fresher. Not a top shelf team here by any way, but it's a nice win for us. And the thing, though, you have to understand is this was a conducive environment and a must-win environment, and we did what we had to. But things are going to get more complicated, more difficult, more challenging. And still my concern is this offensive line. My concern is that secondary. The missed tackles and I think they're still able to be run on at a certain point if you get the right, once you got to back them off a little bit. But I thought Raiders had a good offensive line, and so they were kind of curtailed for the most part, although they're I think 32nd in the run game. But still, I think there's hope for us up front. I think we're finding players up there. The linebacking group, I think, is more it's tighter. It's able to bind the front and the back end with Walker in there. But some of these corners, some of the tackling and coverage bothers me once you get past like Fuller and Ramsey. And hopefully Duck is part of that positive too. But the offensive line, guys, Brewer is susceptible to power. Lamb really can't run block. He can get bull rushed. Eichenberg is not good. Jones, you saw we had the best runs with to the left with Tehran and then Jones. Jones, though, he struggles in the pass game, but, do we bring Wynn in? Tehran's knee is a concern. The tight end group, Jonu's great in the pass department, but some of the blocking still bothers me. It's this blocking unit, I think, is the biggest drag on the team. We'll see if it turns around. We'll see if it's a major problem going forward. But overall, if you had put a good offensive line with these skills, or you need like a above average offensive line with these skills and Tua, just think what you could have accomplished. I mean, why did we have to go bottom dollar on this offensive line the way we did? There was so many opportunities, and it's such a shame because you can see if Tua gets a little help, these skills, they can get open. You can see that cover too when it breaks down a little bit, when they start having a quandary between the run game, the middle pass, and then the deep pass, what can get done. I mean, Tua's, 3 touchdowns, 289, a good day. No, and add in those big plays. But I still think that there's some depth issues team-wide in certain areas, and I think this offensive line is the biggest concern. And we'll see. We'll see how it goes forward. We can't get any more big injuries. Chubb will be coming back soon, hopefully. Wynn will be coming back soon, hopefully. And I think that will give us a better chance. Next week is another kind of tune-up game, and then we'll get to see what we're really about. But the Jets are totally in the tank, and that can break their side. They're a mentally weak team, it seems like. A mentally weak group. And so the good news is we played them week 18 and we played them week 14. If they've checked out, it will put the edge to getting them even further down the pipe. And you can beat them enough and drive them below the Patriots. Just think about how bad that would be for them and how good it would be for us. So overall, very good day. Mitigated by the Raiders being the Raiders. They're not, the teams were supposed to be beaten like this, which is, the 8+ teams, the Bills and the Ravens, and we're supposed to be competing with them. But this is a good day. Enjoy. Get back to you with more coverage. Curtis saying, be well, go Fins. Curtis out. Start building your own online sports book today by getting signed up with aceperhead.com service that'll allow you to book action on sports from all around the world.